Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan video. In this video we're going to talk about how you can prepare for the 10th anniversary, but also how you can of course get as many stones as possible before the 10th anniversary begins. So it's going to be a bit of a stone guide, but also a discussion around how else you can prepare. But obviously it's going to depend a lot on whether you're a new or returning player. There's about 5 days before the anniversary begins. If you're a new player or returning player after a while, you probably have a lot of stones you can farm. If you're someone who's been playing every single day forever like me, chances are you probably don't. That's unfortunately as simple as this. But let's talk about some of the places you can find stones and what you can do in terms of content before the start of the 10th anniversary. Now we already know 10th anniversary will kick off with some pretty big bits of content. We'll get some new Supreme Magnificent battles, blue zones. We're going to get some new super easy A's, and we're going to get a whole bunch of new units. So you want as many stones as possible. Content has already been released, and there's quite a bit of things going on right now that players can do to earn themselves some content. Starting with the red zones. These are very highly challenging fights. If you're a new player, you're probably going to struggle. If you're a veteran player, this is your primary source of stones. Both the Goku story and Vegeta story, first 3 stages have come out, and there's 20 stones for each. There is a whole bunch of other challenge content that players can take on, and if you're a new player, I highly suggest you start with Super Battle Road, or you start with Fighting Legend Goku events and challenges. These are relatively easy. Most times even one really good modern unit can get you through the challenge, and it'll enable you most times to grab a bunch of great rewards. In the Awakenings tab, one thing you can do is work on awakening all of your units. You don't want to spend half your time during the anniversary doing Dokkan events. It sucks. Try and do a little bit of them now, especially if you haven't done them in a while. Not only can you awaken old units, but there's tons of stones to earn from Dokkan events. If you're a new player, just clearing the Dokkan events on their highest difficulty can net you like 300, 400, even up to 800 stones depending on how many you have outstanding. In terms of growth events, these aren't something really to focus on too much outside of being a brand new player, so I'll rather touch on that later as there's not a big stone count you can earn from here. However, growth events are still great to prep yourself and your account for the coming celebration. In terms of story events, a ton of story events have reopened. Most veteran players will just have the Dragon Ball Daima event to do, due to the fact that it has missions and some stages. It's not the biggest event, but I mean 6 stones is 6 stones, so what can you do? The Tower Breaking Challenge is probably the one you're going to want to focus on the most, as it provides quite a few stones and is only up till just before the anniversary. So you probably want to get on this one really quick. Even if you're a new player, there's a ton of great rewards to earn here. The Hero Extermination plans, both of them are great ways for new players to earn stones. Veteran players who haven't done this is a great time to do it. There's a lot of stones here actually, like over a whole multi, so definitely something to look at as well. As I mentioned before, a ton of events have reopened all over the place. And not only is this a great time to grab stones if you're a new player, remember you can get pretty much anywhere between 6 to 12 stones per story event, but it's also a great time to catch up on some of the older free-to-play LRs. Most of the times a lot of the free-to-play characters aren't really worth it, but definitely the Babidi LR and the Beerus LR are definitely worth it for new players. They're great, they're useful, and there's some support memories and other things that you can grab. Super Strike events are also super useful, and I highly suggest you at least complete those as well, due to how many stones they have. Before we talk about some other avenues of stones, I always like to point out the Portal of Memories. It's one of the more abstract ways of obtaining stones, especially as a new player. You'll get tons of keys throughout the 10th anniversary celebration and the login campaign. You can use these keys to access these events and earn yourself a ton of stones. If you're like me, you've probably also, as a veteran player, left maybe 4 or 5 stones on the table all over the place. Sometimes you can find a nice little 10 stones or 15 stones that you've just happened to miss or didn't manage to grab, and it's great to come back to the Portal of Memories, see what is currently outstanding, and maybe go and just grab some of those stones so that you can obviously benefit from it at a later point. It's definitely something I highly suggest. Aside from that, there's a whole bunch of other stuff you can do. The Z battles, the limited time events. These are all great, but a lot of them don't really net you too much. The Z battles are a great way of getting stones, but aside from the crossover ones that are in the Portal of Memories, most of them are currently active, and we're going to talk about them now because they're so crucial. But before we get there, Dragon Ball Story and Quest Mode are great ways to get Dragon Stones. A lot of new events have been revamped into DBZ Story events for returning players or new players, and Quest Mode's had a ton of updated content all the time. So if you're returning or brand new, Quest Mode, definitely the best place to go. There are so many stones in Quest Mode. It is actually ridiculous how many you can find in this game mode. Then we come to the challenge. Obviously I've mentioned quite a few, but one special mention to the Punching Bag Hercule event. It's a very easy way to get stones, especially stage 4, 5, and 6. And if you're a new player, this could be something that be of interest to you, because you can clear it and grab yourself, pretty much a ton of great rewards as well. So now we talk about the Extreme Z battles. Obviously we know the super easy A's are coming for Buhan and for Vegito, but a ton of easy A's, every single one except for the crossover ones, have all returned. So whether you're new or old or veteran or returning or whatever it is, check all your easy A's. Make sure you're not missing any missions. I know I, for example, did a free-to-play round of Kid Buu, so I'm missing 2 stones there that I can just go grab right now. Go and grab as many stones as you can. And obviously you have the Dokkan All-Stars. If you're a new player, don't worry about clearing the whole thing. Even if you just use your strongest team, like the Saiyan team, and clear stages 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 of some of these Extreme Z battles, you yourself will net a ton of stones. There are so many Extreme Z battles now. If you just did like 3 from all of them, I actually almost think that's over like 300 stones. I think there's over 100 Extreme Z battles. Virtual Dokkan Ultimate Clash, obviously temporary event. Guys, I know it's tough, but I have a guide up for it. You should try it. If you can only do it when new units come out, that's also fine. Baton Battle, you get stones for collecting the units. Also a great way to get yourself sorted. So we've covered a lot of the events, pretty much every way that you can get stones right now. But there are still other ways that you can prepare. So although they don't count as stones right now, make sure that you do your anniversary countdown missions. There's a couple of days left. Even if you haven't done the previous parts, make sure you do these ones. You'll get these anniversary countdown coins that you can go and exchange for stones once the anniversary starts. On top of that as well, check all your treasure items, collect treasure from story events, exchange your battlefield currencies, try and get yourself Kais, whatever you can in terms of resources. Obviously there's Baton Battle, you can also grab a couple extra stones there. And you can use your redstone if you want to. It's no problem. There's a ton of currencies, so cycle through them. See which ones you can farm right now with all the story events up. And try and stock up a bit on Kai's if you've got a bit of spare stamina, you've farmed all the stones, etc. Maybe you want to farm treasure, link level. All of that is obviously more than fine. In terms of like units and preparation, the one thing I can suggest, clean up your box. So if you've been summoning on friend summons or ticket summons, or you're just a new player and you've been summoning all over the place and you haven't organized your box, get everything in place. You're going to be summoning a lot during the course of the anniversary, and you don't want to have units all over the place and miss out or accidentally get rid of them. Obviously prep for units. We know we're getting easy A's for the 7th year anniversary LRs. We're getting super easy A's for Buhan and Vegito. Grab those units, awaken them, prep them, get them ready so that when the super easy A's do come, when the easy A's do come, you're ready to go. Like I said, awaken what units you can so that you have as many units awakened as possible to give yourself options for team building or challenges or story events or bonuses, etc., etc. And obviously that kind of covers it. Realistically, there's a lot that you can still do. There's actually quite a fair chunk of content that they've released, which I think is great. And all I can really suggest to you is that you scan this content, and especially if you're a new player, and don't panic about farming everything straight away. Focus on clearing out your free-to-play teams, get your Saiyan Saga team, finish your Greatest Warrior panels, maybe farm your Ginyu Force team or your Team Bardock team, try the Fighting Legend Goku event, the Super Battle Road event, work your way through those to help create and improve units that you have. and grab yourself some extra stones. Work your way through quest mode, work your way through the DB story events, the story events. You'll get so many stones here that you don't have to worry about doing super hard challenge content just yet. And then once you have obviously pulled on the new banners from the 10th anniversary, you'll have really strong units, so it'll become a lot easier. For veterans who are returning, go and check your content. There's tons that you've missed out. For veterans, we're a bit stuck. They constantly actively play, but I'm sure there's some extra stones that you can scour. Bye.